Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Miller, and today I'll be talking about a legal document that often gets overlooked, in long-term care planning. And this document that I'm going to be focusing on today is called a living will. It's also known as an advance directive or healthcare directive. And this legal document basically just specifies your loved one's preferred medical care at the end of life, or if they lose the ability to be able to make medical decisions for themselves. And I really think this document is kind of the most pivotal that we should have in preparing as caregivers because we never know. We never know when our loved one's going to be injured and when they might become so ill that they unexpectedly lose their ability to make medical decisions, and then we're left holding the bag about what do we do? What do they want? And the last thing I want you to be in, or excuse me, the last situation that I want you to be in is in that position of going, what do I do? What would my loved one want? Am I making the right decision? I don't want you in an extra amount of stress and second guessing yourself, if you know what I mean, when you're in these situations. So that's why today I wanted to talk about this document, and I'll share some of my own experiences because I just went through this last year when my father passed away. So basically, a living will, like I said, helps you advocate for your loved one's ability to make medical decisions. And it's usually for situations where they are incapacitated, they can't speak for themselves, whether it's maybe their health, where they like maybe with dementia or something like that, or like they seriously have had such a serious health injury or illness that they cannot speak, or they're comatose or something like that, or they're at a critical stage where they need life sustaining treatments such as CPR, intubations, which basically being put on a ventilator, tube feedings, IVs, things like that. And so the living will spells out for your loved one what they do or don't want. So for example, my parents were dead set against being on a ventilator. They're like, if we're brain dead and there's nothing that can be done for us, we do not want to be put on a ventilator at all costs and things like that. Or even if they even want have CPR, and in the medical field, that would be a DNR, do not resuscitate. Um, Tube feedings. Maybe someone's not up for tube feedings, or even just life-sustaining IVs. Like if there's a slim chance that they're going to recover, and they just don't want anything done. They just want to be comfortable with pain medication or to die at home on hospice, whatever their specific things that they want are. That's what this legal document helps you do. And as a caregiver, this is very important as a caregiver to have a legal document on hand that lets you advocate for your loved one because you don't want the state moving in. So, along with outlining specific end of life care that your loved one wants, should the situation present itself, this is also a good opportunity to also have details about what they want in terms of after they pass. And I know it's not easy to talk about, but then again, we don't want to be I don't want you to be second guessing yourself. I don't want you to be feeling like you didn't do enough or that you're not honoring your loved one the way that you wanted to. So, other things to think about would be, do they want to be cremated? Do they want their body to be buried? I know my grandmother on my father's side was just um, did not want to be cremated. She was embalmed. So, but then some people, even though they will be dead and they won't feel it, but the idea just grosses them out of being embalmed and they prefer to be cremated. So ask about those specifics. Do they want a memorial service? Excuse me, do they not want a memorial service? If they have significant estate, monetary, do they want to have some of their estate, of the financial means of their estate, donated to a certain organization? I know with my father, he was very supportive of the school that my daughter goes to, and we donated a little bit of money in honor of him. That's what it was, a request. He just said that he just wanted a little bit of money to go towards that school because he believed in it. So, these are questions that are very important questions to ask, guys, okay? Because the more information that you have now, where they're coherent, and you're able to talk through like what they want, especially in terms of their end of life care. This makes it easier on you because here's the thing, as a caregiver, I know we're so hyper focused on making sure that we keep them comfortable, we keep them healthy, and having the best quality of life possible. But then the final step is making sure that we're honoring them in the best way possible, um, at the end of life. And I want you to have that. I don't want you to feel guilt or shame or frustration that you didn't do everything that they wanted. So besides asking those questions, the specifics about what procedures they want or don't want, what they want in terms of to happen with their estate, with their possessions, with where they want, how they want their services to go or not go if they don't want a service. The other thing besides that, I would say is make sure that you go back and update this will or look at it every, I'd say 3 to 6 months, maybe more if your loved one's really struggling health wise and it looks like maybe they could be going sooner than 3 to 6 months, just so you make sure you have everything ready to go so you're prepared because this is a document you will have to give to and show and will be asked, do they have a living will? Because there is a limit of how you have to deal with things when somebody does go. And I would also, I know this is another question that's going to pop up is, do you need a lawyer? Do you not need a lawyer? I personally feel like it, from my own experience, is because my feeling is like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't all know all the rules that go with the legal side of things with the government and how things are processed for an estate. And so I very much encourage, I know it can be expensive, but the money is worth it, is to invest in a lawyer because they are trained, obviously, to handle with this. And especially if you go with a lawyer that specifically deals only with probate cases or estate cases is another term that's used, so much the better because this is all they do. All they do is just handle estate affairs. And personally, that's what I went through when I'd had to deal with my dad's passing, as I went through a lawyer that does living, that did that, not only that I went through the same lawyer that not only did our living wills, but obviously he does have, end of life and estate experience. So it was just perfect to be able to segue into that season when it came up for us. So I would definitely be careful though. I know there's always information online saying that it's free or that you can do it, easy peasy lemon squeezy. But again, I also don't want you to fall into a scam because there are, let's just face it. There's some people out there that aren't always honest and truthful. And when you're already dealing with so much as a grieving caregiver, and just processing the loss of your loved one and having to deal with all the legal matters, the last thing I want you to have to struggle with is also being bombarded and bamboozled with a scam. Okay, so be careful, do your research, and ask, and if in doubt, ask questions. Okay, because I know this is a touchy topic for a lot of people, and after going through my own experience, I'm thankful that I've had good legal representation where I felt seen, I felt heard, I wasn't rushed, they answered all my questions. It's just so important. And so I want you to have very much the same experience. So do your research, ask questions, and be sure that you feel confident in the decision and choice that you make, either way, with how you're drawing up your loved one's living will. Okay. So that is pretty much what a living will advance directive entails. If you have further questions of other topics or documents you would like me to talk about, I would be happy to address those in another episode. So definitely shoot me a DM on my Instagram or leave a comment below. And also make sure that if this is your first time catching an episode of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast, be sure to subscribe and follow and turn your notifications on my blog, on my website, excuse me, not Instagram, Spotify, Apple, and my YouTube channel. So you'll be notified when another episode drops. And as always, I thank you so much for tuning in and listening. And I just want to remind you that you are not alone in your journey. Okay. It is tough to be a caregiver. Okay. I get that. It is so tough to be a caregiver, but that doesn't mean you have to do it alone. And that doesn't mean either that you have to have everything sort it out overnight. All right. It's a process, it's a marathon, but it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to admit that you're scared or angry or frustrated. Okay. Just reach out. I'm here for you. All right, guys. Well, I will see you in the next episode of the Caregiving and Entrepreneurship Reimagined podcast. I hope this was super helpful, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys.